What'd you learn looking back? I know you can't do a ton of film because you got to turn and get ready for Utah State. But what'd you learn from what Wyoming was trying to do against you guys?
Um, I think the biggest, one of the biggest takeaways defensively is that we got to be better, right, at stopping the run and getting off the field. Coming in, we knew Wyoming was going to run the ball and they're going to try to eat clock. And that first quarter, they really did that. And I think that's one of the biggest things is we've got to be able to really win first downs and get off the field.
Jay and then Kevin.
Hey, Tyler, you may or may not know this is the last time BYU is going to play Utah State in quite a while. How do you feel about that? Do you wish the rivalry would go on? And as a player, how do you feel about playing an in-state foe like Utah State?
It's a lot of fun. I think here in Utah we have a lot of good teams, and we've had a lot of good teams. Between all the universities, so it's always fun. It's always fun to play in-state rivals, and so I think that's something. Yeah, we may miss for a couple of years, which honestly, I'm a little bit conflicted. You're bummed because you may not play him for a couple of years, but at the same time, we're going into a new era where we get to play a lot of new teams in the Big 12, and that's really exciting.
Tyler, you mentioned the first quarter of the Wyoming game. I'm curious, going into Utah State, is there any emphasis for the defense to kind of start faster, have a first quarter after kind of Oregon and Wyoming to be a little bit? Is there any emphasis on the first quarter?
Yeah, absolutely. Every game, I think, especially defensively, you need to come out and make a statement, and so I think that's something we're definitely again looking to do this week. Come out in that first quarter and again, just do our job, right? Get 3 and outs, get off the field, and give the offense the ball back.
Sean and then Jared.
Yeah, Tyler, I don't want this to sound like any sort of excuse or anything like that, because both teams are obviously going through the same schedule situation, whatever, but I think this is the tightest turnaround that you guys have had for a little while. You played some Friday games, but not a ton of Thursday games. What's the hardest part from a player perspective about having fewer days kind of to prepare? Is it the lack of practices? Is it less time for film study? Like, what's the most difficult part about the tight turnaround?
Yeah, I think less days. Get a little less rest in between games. I think also, just lack of time, right? With such a quick turnaround, right? You just don't have a lot of time to necessarily prepare for film study for those practices, and so everything's really condensed and has to be in order to be ready for that next game. So I think it's just not having the same amount of time.
I don't know if you heard Kalani just a few minutes ago talking about how he was surprised that the team wasn't playing at the level that he had kind of thought they'd be able to at this point, not as crisp, and he took a lot of that on himself, saying, as the head coach, that's my job. When you hear the coach or when you think of that, what do the players need to do, the leaders particularly, you're a defensive leader, what do you guys have to do to facilitate that team-wide?
Yeah, good question. I think we all expected us to have a little bit better rhythm defensively and just have things clicking a little bit better. Honestly, I think it's really a hard question to answer, right? Because I mean, if we knew all the answers, we'd be rolling, right? We'd have the best defense in the nation right now. So that's a tough question to answer. I think really looking forward and looking backward at what we've learned over the course of these first few games is it just comes down to assignment sound football. It's just the fundamentals. And so I think if our defense can really focus in on that and focus in on, just what we do as a defense and how we play football and just stay true to our identity, I think, this game and the rest of the season, we'll be able to play at that really high level that we all know that we can.
Jay, go ahead.
Tyler, I wanted to ask you about your fellow defensive lineman, John Nelson. I think he's from kind of your neck of the woods down there in South Utah County. What's he all about, and what kind of improvement have you seen from him this year?
Yeah, so John is from Salem, so right there next to Payson. It's a heated high school rivalry, so me and John are always ribbing each other. It's a lot of fun. John's awesome, really hard worker, and yeah, he's worked his butt off this off season to just get bigger, stronger, faster, better technically, and it's showing up on the field. He's making plays, he's being physical, and so yeah, he's been an awesome tool for us to have on the D line.
All right, we'll take the last question from Jake.
We'll get you out on a good one here. Obviously, you've got the mustache. If you guys on the team are sporting them, who do you consider to have the best mustache on the squad outside yourself?
I'll go with Clark Barrington just because his has probably been around for the longest, most iconic. There's a shirt out there with his mustache on it. So, yeah, we'll say Clark.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Tyler.